Oh, well, why am I spraying myself with this? It's a rose floral essence spray, and I use it to regulate my nervous system. And the reason for that is I have built a deep relationship with the knowing and understanding that I am a sensitive man. I am a powerful man, but I am also very sensitive. How many of you men have heard the word sensitivity in a way that is critical and judgmental? My imagining is all of you, because what I have discovered over the last 2 decades of doing personal development work and doing, last decade of men's work is every man I've ever met is actually sensitive. Now, a lot of those men wouldn't identify as that because they have cultivated coping strategies to be invulnerable, which is not allowing themselves to be in their body and feel the more vulnerable feelings. And the impact of that is feeling broken inside, lost, scared, alone. Some of the things that I hear in my discovery calls with my clients for my 6-month container or 1-year container is, I'm so frustrated and confused because everyone thinks I've got the most incredible life. I had one client who's made millions of dollars and has worked with hundreds of millions of dollars and is so confused why they're not happy because everyone else's judgment or perception of them is they should be happy. They have everything they could want. They have money, they travel, they've created success, they have a beautiful partner, they're attractive, yet miserable. So long since they truly felt happy. Now, why is that? Invulnerability is not embracing our wholeness. And we're going to go deep into this because this is one of the most important beliefs to shift inside is around thinking that strength and power comes from overriding, pushing, grinding to achieve some sort of outcome, to acquire material goods. If we don't allow our vulnerability to be in the creation, to be in our relationships, we will deepen the belief of we are not good enough, that something is wrong with us, because we are relational beings. And this idea of me speaking to this topic for this week's video came from me being downstairs in my gym. So I'm in my studio, and below this I have a gym, and I'm in the middle of a water fast right now, which means I don't eat food. And this is me doing my longest stretch of it. And I was watching my thoughts, and my ego was expressing all these ideas of why I should eat and break the fast. And that's part of why I do this fast, is to build the practice of um, cultivating tone and recognizing how much of my behavior comes from discomfort or my ego or addiction. Anyway, so I'm downstairs and I'm in my gym and I'm on my bench, and my body is doing a lot inside. It's a vulnerable feeling to feel hungry, to have these thoughts happening that are trying to persuade me to breaking this thing that I feel really committed to doing for my vitality, to bring wellness into my body, to actually cultivate true power and strength, which is staying power, staying committed, staying devoted, following through with what I say I'm going to do. And the feeling of vulnerability brought up a sadness. It brought up like, oh, I could watch these thoughts come in of like, oh, you can't create content from this place. You're weak. And I was like, whoa, that's an interesting thought. It's not my thought. But wow, that's so a thought and a narrative in our culture. How many men have I sat with, my clients, where they express the things that their dads would say to them when they were little, when they were actually fragile in the process of developing? Why are you so sensitive? Stop crying. What's wrong with you? What's the matter? Any of you relate to that? Did you hear messages like that? Or, messages that I remember in school of like if I felt feelings that were more vulnerable, like sadness, or I felt embarrassed, like really harmful comments like, what are you, gay? Like, ouch. Like, even just saying that out loud hurts my heart. That these expressions of being human would be used as judgments and criticisms and derogatory to put another being down. Being called a pussy. God, just the amount of terms I remember hearing when I would embrace my sensitivity. Painful. And so here I am down in my gym having these rememberings of like, oh yeah, that's where that comes from. It's not what's true though. What's actually true? So inside, like what's actually true? Wow, my vulnerability has made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's how I make a living. Is I use my sensitivity to attune to another human being who's in struggle, who's having a hard time, that's living out the life from all of that conditioning, and attuning to them so that they can feel seen, that they can feel safe, that they can express the things they've never been able to express before because it wasn't safe to. Holding their feelings, holding the trauma that starts to bubble up for a lot of these men. That's how I make my money. That's what's true about me, is my sensitivity is the gift that I bring other men that leads to their transformation, which is just honoring in right order. This happened, the strength for me to be able to do that, my gentle power that I bring to my clients, came from other people doing their work so that they could hold the trauma that lives in me, so that they could see the parts of me that society hadn't accepted, that my family didn't accept, that my partners couldn't accept. Them really being in relationship with me and loving me with compassion, with presence, with care, with sensitivity has allowed me to transform into my power. Like, God, just when I think I was 20 when I first had the idea of creating content for people and wanting to use my voice and share my experiences to inspire others to live a good life. That happened when I was 20, but I couldn't execute on the steps because I was trying to push and override it and to do it for validation. I wasn't doing it from a place of embracing that I'm sensitive, that I have these qualities of intuition, of, some of my clients, it's like I can see their childhood. I don't know why I can see. It's just a gift I have. I can, when they're sharing with me, I can see their past. What a gift to have. Now, the gift requires me embracing being super sensitive, because in order to feel that level of depth in someone's energy, I have to be very sensitive. And if I didn't accept that quality of me, I wouldn't be able to do that. And then I wouldn't be able to reflect things to people that they didn't even have awareness around, of like, oh my God, that did happen. And then we can integrate it, we can process it so that the energy liberates and leaves their body so that they can be in their power, so that they can understand who they are. We are human beings that need to be seen, to feel understood, for us to transform, for us to mature, for us to grow up. We develop through mirrors. If we don't get accurate mirrors to our experience, we don't grow up. And then what happens? Well, we try to chase and attain some sort of status, material goods, to lean into the status, to hopefully fulfill the parts of us that aren't integrated, that aren't whole inside. But that's not the way. How many times have we heard people share their story of riches and fame? I think one that stands out right now is Jim Carrey, where he something along, I'm butchering this, isn't verbatim, where he had this speech where he talked about his wish that everyone would have wealth and like millions of dollars and fame, so that they could recognize that it's not it. It's not the way to freedom. It's not the thing that sets you free. And he learned that one. Our freedom comes from fully embracing who we are. It's our wholeness. Every human I've ever met is sensitive. Every man I've ever met is sensitive. And the men who seem to feel the most happy, fulfilled, excited for life, grateful for what's here, are the ones who embrace the sensitivity. And that's what we transform in my 6-month container, is that. It's what happened to me when somebody held a container for me. Is it took time for me to shake through and shake out all of the programs and the beliefs that I had installed that were given to me from society and lived experience through my household, discard them all to experience a new kind of relationship so that I could claim a life that is truly authentic, that is truly me. That's where I feel the most fulfilled. And so I digress. This morning, I was sitting on this bench, feeling my vulnerability, reminding myself of what's actually true and that it's my power lives in it. I was like, oh, great topic for today. Gentle power, vulnerability, sensitivity. Because every man I work with is sensitive, but they're afraid to feel the sensitivity of their experience. They're afraid to drop from their head into their heart, into their body, because when we drop into our body, when we talk about this fancy term of embodiment, what we're talking about is going into this physical vessel that we have and processing to integrate all the energies that we haven't yet done. See, the nature of when we go and honor this body as what it is it's an animal body. It has a nervous system that's based off of survival. If we had trauma is, simply put, experiences that were overwhelming for our system to process. Lots of information that is intense and that is fast. And if we aren't held in connection with love and presence, our body can't shake out the distress of all the like cortisol and all the like what happens inside is so overwhelming. Parts of us have to freeze or shut down, and if we don't process that energy, it actually stays stuck in our system, and our nervous system says, never fucking forget this, because we are never going to let this ever happen again. And then what happens is any qualities that are even similar, slightly similar to what that experience it was that was so traumatizing, our body will do everything it can to avoid it, which often means, oh, somebody who has this look on their face, da, da, da. And then what it can play out is people afraid of connection, people afraid of relationships, people afraid of doing anything scary or leaving their comfort zone or sharing a vulnerable feeling, because last time they felt vulnerable and scared, it was so overwhelming that their system shut down. And so the nervous system says, in order to avoid that, we're just never going to do that ever again, which is actually the shutdown just continuously re-experiencing itself. I hope that makes sense. People who can't lean into relationship or be vulnerable is actually, it's because a part of them had to collapse or shut down because when they were little, they couldn't get met with the ingredients that they needed to process the energy. Because trauma isn't the nature of the event that happens, it's what happens after it. If we are welcomed by community and other people and connection and can process about it, then once we finish processing the energy, sometimes our body shakes, we have a cry. Think of somebody who's maybe, God forbid, lost a child, and then the grieving and the crying, but then eventually things shift and then life becomes enjoyable again, if that process can happen. if someone stops that process, then they stay stuck because the nervous system has gotten the message, I don't matter. I can't, it's too big to, I'm too much. And so when I was sitting on the bench, I could feel my vulnerability, and it actually, me feeling it and acknowledging it, feeling into what is true, which is called differentiation, differentiating between the messages I got growing up and what is actually true about me now, brought me into, oh, great topic for today. You know how that felt inside? I felt excited. I felt empowered, just like I do now. I'm like, yeah, fucking love my sensitivity. I get to live the life of my dreams. I live in this beautiful, crafted home in the side of a mountain, but an artist and his beautiful beloved, they had this vision and they built this incredible place that we live in. We have a studio. This is where I get to record this content. We live along the river. We get our eggs down the road. We get our beef right across the field. We look at the cows walking around, and that's where we get our meat. It's like I'm living the life of my dreams, and it's been through the pathway of me embracing my sensitivity, me cultivating strength and courage to share the sensitivity with others so that they can heal, so that they can feel seen, met, and understood in the way that I was by my mentors, by my guides. So if you're still watching this, I want you to really understand that if any part of you is resisting feeling sensitive or vulnerable, you know the limitations of that belief. If you think, sorry, I'll say it in this way, if you think that your vulnerability and sensitivity is a problem or is weak, you know the limitations of that belief because you probably feel disconnected, lost, alone, maybe broken, maybe lots of shame, insecure, but afraid to even say that. And then prop up by doing all these things or acquiring all these things to maybe be good enough. The thing that will set you free is embracing the vulnerability, is embracing the sensitivity. I promise you. Because the thing is, the gifts that God gave us all, there is a vulnerability to embracing what those gifts are. They need to, over time, in the giving of them, develop tone. So in the nervous system, tone is, how I'll relate it to this is, in the beginning, when I started to embrace sensitivity, my practice was me being a puddle in the lap of my healers, my guides, and my coaches, letting them see the part of me I was afraid to let anyone else see. That was me practicing the embracing of some of my gifts of vulnerability and tenderness. And I needed to be held. And over time, as I would start to, as an example, where I really started to feel the sensitivity and the vulnerability and the tenderness transmute into power was when I was doing my intuitive coaching program with one of my mentors. We would have these group calls twice a week, and they'd be over the phone. And I was so tired of just hiding everything in my life because it led to me having a divorce. And so I committed that in this container, because of how my coach, my mentor had held me, now that I was a part of this program, I was committed to just following their beliefs of like, they keep saying, feel to heal. They keep saying, she kept saying, I can't experience the level of love and light that I want without experiencing the other end of the shadow, which is me exposing my shame, all the things that I was afraid to share. So anyways, I'm on these calls and I would share things that I was so embarrassed to share. I'd cry. I'd be so embarrassed. I'd be like, oh my God, I bet you all think I'm crazy. And I would share my experience. And you know what I would receive? Because it was a safe room, And that's important. There's discernment in here. It's not going out, and I didn't share this with everyone. The reason I was in this container is these people were safe. These people were all trying to liberate themselves from similar experiences of hiding and, living in their head. And so safe room. And I would share and I'd cry and I would get messages. I'd either get people unmute themselves and be like, I'm so inspired by you going there. Oh my God. And inside my narrative was, I bet you they all think I'm weak. It was the opposite. They're like, whoa, the strength, the courage, you're so brave. I'm so inspired. God, I've never gone that vulnerable. Wow. And then I'd get private messages. I'd listen to audios of people expressing how inspired they were. What? It blew my mind. It actually blew apart all these beliefs and messages that I got growing up of, oh, you're too sensitive. Da, da, da. Wait a minute. I'm being so sensitive right now. I'm crying. I'm like snot everywhere. And people are saying how strong and inspiring I am. Talk about an awakening moment. And then I was like, wait, what? This is power? This is like, I'm feeling liberated by getting to actually express myself, but it's actually inspiring other people to do the same. Oh, and then I got it. This is power. Being me. Again, it doesn't mean spilling everywhere in the world, but the more I've given myself permission, it's never changed since that moment. Me getting to see that awakening moment of, oh my God, people are thirsty to witness other people courageous enough to expose their heart and lived experience, because it gives them permission to break the shackles, the constraints, the trap, the delusion of our lived experience that is vulnerable is weak. Once we shatter that, we're unstoppable in what we can do, what we can create from that place, from a place that's more whole, not from a place that's trying to trick and persuade and in a way of like, look at me and putting on the masks. No, wait a minute. When you actually expose the true essence of who you are, you start to experience what true love is, what impact is, what purpose is, what intimacy is, what deep sense of belonging feels like, what more than enough feels like. So I encourage you, my friend, if you're still here watching this, there's a reason. My imagining is your intuition, your felt sense, has you still here. And I want you to give yourself permission to embrace that intuition even more, that vulnerable part of you that wants to be a part of conversations like this so that you can be more of who you are. Maybe you're sitting here because this is a conversation you wished you could have, but didn't even know you needed. And there aren't people in your life right now that are safe enough to have this conversation because maybe the old narrative is what's more alive and more of the criticism and the shaming comes in, and then you actually have to stay small. My friend, here, I want you to be big. I want you to shine so freaking bright. I want you to build and get to know so intimately the gifts that you've been given so you can bring them to the world so that you can experience how enjoyable, pleasurable, satisfying, fulfilling, happy you can be, you can feel in being all of you. Getting to know the right environments to bring that, getting to know how to package it in a way that leads to the value in other people's lives so that you can actually not only feel that good in being you, but also make lots of money being you. This is breaking out of the matrix. It's like breaking out of the construct of like, I have to do this thing I hate doing and make myself do it in order to make money. Imagine living a life where you get to just be you and paid a lot for being you. That's what I get to live constantly. And this is what I help all of my clients do, is transform into a new, this isn't just giving you some strategies and practices so that you can feel better with those. Not that there isn't strategy and procedures as a part of the work, but what the work really is about transforming into a new way of being. It's shedding the limitations of the man you've been and have learned to be into the man you were born to be. Transforming into that, becoming that, so that your heart gets to be the driving force of everything you do in your day-to-day life and how you support other people and how you make money, so that you can live a life that's free, that's stable, that's reliable, that's honorable. It's the life that other men and other humans are inspired by. I wish that for you because it's the greatest experience ever. Then we get together, appreciate what's already here. So then it's not about, I need to attain all the things to feel good. It actually gets to be, oh my God, I love what's already here, what I already have. Oh my God, this is so much energy. I love who I am and what I have and where I am and these gifts that I have. Oh, I'm bursting at the seams and I just want to give them. What can I create that's valuable? I want to get to know other people's problems and just share my life with them so that they can live like this, not in the way that I'm doing it, but in the way they're meant to do it. Oh, there's no greater feeling than that, my friend. There's no greater feeling than that. Oh, there's no greater feeling than that. And so if you're watching this and you're feeling the quake or you feel inspired to start becoming this new man, there's two things for you. The first one's free. I've created a document that you can download, you can print it off, you can put it on your fridge, and it gives you a somatic practice and an orientation of how you can build more capacity in your nervous system to be present with your partner, with other people, with yourself. And so you can download that. It's totally free. Go down in the description, click that. And then below that, there's going to be a link to an application to work with me, because I have two spots. I have very limited spots in the year because I want to live my life in the quality of life that I want to live, of what I've described. I want to be free. And so I only serve a very specific human. And it's a man who's really ready to take the leap. And so I have an application that you can fill out if you want to explore being in my 6-month container. Click that link, fill out the application. And if you're serious about it, that will lead us to a discovery call. And maybe you'll get one of those spots. And if you're still watching this and you're feeling this, like feeling in your gut or your heart, or there's just something that you're noticing right now that's like, oh, something. Life has brought me to this moment. There's something here that I needed to hear. If you want to follow that intuition, those little pings, go click that, fill out the application, and it would be an honor if that is the message that life is bringing you right now. Because again, it's not for everyone. But if this message is for you, I'm excited to be on that call and meet you, get to hear about your journey and where you're at, and take you through that process of transformation so that you can live the life that you're meant to live in a way that's enjoyable, satisfying, happy, fulfilling, where you get to receive the feedback that isn't from the desperation of validation, but it's just the affirming of the power that you know that you have inside, that you live with in the day-to-day. Ugh, I wish that for you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.